Women have been fighting for equal rights under the law for over a century. The women's rights movement began in the United States with the first official rally in 1848, and the recognition by women for women has been progressing ever since. However, in some countries, progress is slow going. The country of Saudi Arabia was established in 1932 in the Middle East and is currently overseen by King Salman since 2015. Known for the Islamic religion and home to the holiest shrines in the world, as well as being the largest exporter of oil in the world. There are many great things about this country, but it has long since been a controversial topic when considering the rights and treatment of Saudi women. While there have been some advancements in the rights of women over the last decade regarding the labor force and their presence in politics, these steps are only partial and do not grant these women any kind of autonomy or true ability to be self-sufficient. One of the many attempts at increasing women's rights was the male guardianship system. Put simply, this system keeps women in the ownership of a man from birth until death. The man can be her father, husband, brother, or even her son. Whoever owns the woman is tasked with making all legal, medical, and financial decisions for her, much like the U.S. system for minors today. It should also be known that the instatement of this system was to the benefit of Saudi Arabian women. Rather than being considered property, women slowly began to get the respect they deserved, and younger generations began to look down on and actively protest beating, abusing, or locking up women. However, while laws are more progressive than ever, they are not being put into practice by many citizens, and there is little being done to enforce these laws. The mistreatment of women becomes increasingly apparent when compared to the treatment of others, and not necessarily men. On October 25, 2017, Sophia the robot was introduced into the world and granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia, and later in January of 2018 granted personhood by the United Nations after being allowed to speak on her own behalf. Sophia is the world's most advanced and complex artificial intelligence system, which has been developed to allow her to hold eye contact, recognize faces, and understand human speech. While Sophia is highly intelligent, she is still a robot, and there is much debate over if she truly feels any emotion. This sparked outrage in Saudi Arabian women, who thought it was unfair that a robot was a person before actual humans had equal rights. To this day, many women in Saudi Arabia have not been granted personhood by their government. To be granted personhood means to be worthy of moral consideration. 18-year-old Rahaf Muhammad escaped to Canada. Once there, she caught media attention, and in an interview discussed being exposed to physical violence, persecution, oppression, and threats to be killed. She had been locked up by her family for 6 months because she cut her hair. It's a forbidden practice in Islam to, quote, try and look like a male, despite her not following the religion. She endured many beatings by the hands of her mother and brother. For us Saudi females, we're treated like slaves. We can't make our own decisions for marriage, for studying, for employment. When asked why she chose to flee and not stand up to the government, she replied, I would not be able to do anything. Definitely there were women before me who tried to change things, and they are being exposed to torture in prison. Many children are still being raised with these core beliefs and strict gender roles, but with the advancement in technology, interacting with others and receiving outside information at a young, impressionable age has never been easier. The newest generation of Saudi youths have taken to social media to share their experience with abuse, mistreatment, and threats, using a hashtag that translates to I chose silence. This particular hashtag allows kids and teens to explain why they didn't report any of the violence they had been exposed to, and most often, it is because women who are victims of domestic abuse are blamed for the abuse happening in the first place, with many in the adult generations believing that if the young woman had done what she was told, the abuse never would have happened, and therefore is her own fault. Most are familiar with the vicious cycle of victim blaming, which is something that many of the women who seek refuge are running from. There are dozens of non-profit organizations dedicated to helping women throughout the Middle East. This does not only mean removing them from their homes. Many issues can be solved without drastic interference, and not all poor living conditions are caused by domestic abuse, but we can help women through all kinds of conflict. Zainab Salbi, founder of Women for Women International, said on an interview with Oprah that we work at the critical intersection of women and conflict, providing skills, knowledge, and resources that create sustainable change for women, their families, and their communities. This particular organization has helped over 500,000 women seek refuge from war in post-conflict countries where they will be safe. Rest assured, These organizations do not exist to force anyone into a different way of living. There's no effort to remove women from a life they love. There's no effort to turn women against their culture or to say that the culture itself is wrong. And most women continue to practice their religion through whatever changes occur in their lives. But when one wishes for a different life, is it not oppressive to force them to remain in their current condition? Whether it be to establish themselves as an individual, start their own business, enter the professional world, or just exercise their civil liberties. The decision to help another is not one that is often hard to make. Women decide by themselves, for themselves, but it is our duty to help them after that decision has been made. Volunteer work, attending events, raising awareness, or contributing to solidarity work, as well as donating or sponsoring are all ways that you can help. There's a lot of work to be done, and we can't do it without you. Are you ready to take action?